Hello, this is Patty Joe. I'm moving on further with day 8. This next witness, this poor guy is so nervous. I think all of them were nervous, but this one just really has difficulty expressing through the nerves, and I am going to have a whole hard time with Darrell being a bully. So if that's what he does, I'm just going to warn you right there. Like and subscribe. I'm going to say that ahead of time because I just know I'm not going to say nice things. Let us expand this.
All right, sir, if you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is on my right, up one riser. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand. My clerk, Teresa, who's on my left, will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give...
You may call.
Skips back when I start.
All right, sir, if you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is on my right, up one riser. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand. My clerk, Teresa, who's on my left, will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Please have a seat. First thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and then spell each.
Dominic Caproon, DOMANICCAPROON.
I almost feel like we did this.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. Mr. Caproon, are you a resident of the city of WAUKESHA?
Yes.
Where were you living on November 21st of 2021?
417 Central Avenue.
The objection is overruled. His answer may stand. When there's an objection, if you would just wait until I rule on it before you answer. Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I feel like they have Zach Wichow do the questioning when the witness needs a little support, when they think Darrell's going to bully, but maybe I'm being a little paranoid.
417 Central Avenue, Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Okay. Were you home on the afternoon of November 21st, that Sunday afternoon?
Yes.
Overruled. His answer may stand.
What was the answer?
Yes. I believe is what he said.
Yes.
Can you tell us what happened shortly before 5 o'clock p.m. that day?
Well, we were at home, and my youngest son just got home from a friend's house, and we were ready to get water from Woodman's, and we
Were you outside or inside?
we were inside the house, sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Did you at some point make your way outside?
We eventually decided to go, and we were bringing the jugs out to the truck, and sorry.
It's okay. Tell us about the setup. Where was your truck parked?
My truck was parked by the back door, and the tailgate was facing the entry of the driveway.
So the truck was in the driveway?
Yes.
Okay. And what happened is you were also standing in the driveway?
When I was putting the jugs in the back of the truck, my oldest son, looked up, and he kind of pointed behind me, and I went to turn, and Mr. Brooks was coming up the driveway, and when I turned, he kind of stopped, and I noticed that he wasn't wearing a jacket or shoes.
Could you tell us what he was wearing?
He was wearing
Overruled. He may answer.
okay. He he was wearing just blue jeans and like a red t-shirt, and he had lifted his shirt and did a 360 and told me that he didn't have any weapons, and that he needed a phone to call an Uber. And so I said, yeah, sure, no problem. So, I handed him my phone, and I had suggested to him that my neighbor was a Lyft driver. And so we continued to,
Okay, this guy's a nice guy. Oh, God. This is so terrible because, with his narcissistic behavior, Darrell's just going to lob on to anything he perceives as a weakness. Femininity is a weakness to him. So being a woman in any way, shape, or form he feels is weak. Probably children are weak. He preyed upon younger people often. I think this guy is a good, upstanding guy. He's trying to help the guy standing in front of him. He sees he's ill prepared for the weather, and he doesn't think anything ill of him. He's my neighbor is a Lyft driver, whatever. But he's nervous, and his level of expression is compromised a bit. And Darrell's going to see this, and he is already just bullying. He's. I don't like it. I just don't like it.
With the containers, and so I put the last one in, and he handed me my phone, and he turned the corner and just wanted to see if he, got a hold of my neighbor, looked around the corner, and then he was gone. So
When Mr. Brooks lifted his shirt and did a 360 and said he was unarmed, were those the first words he said to you while you were in your driveway?
Objection, leading, and I do not consent to being called that name.
Overruled.
I'm not exactly sure. I think it was more or less all together.
Okay. And how many of your sons were present and in the driveway with you?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled.
2.
How old were they at the time?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled. You may answer.
One was 21 and the other one was 14.
Do you recall providing a physical description of Mr. Brooks, the person you've referred to as Mr. Brooks today, back on November 21st when you met with the police?
Objection, I do not consent to being called that name.
Mr. Brooks, that's not a valid objection at this time. Go ahead, you may
I don't
answer.
consent to being called that name.
So what? Nobody
Go ahead and
cares.
answer.
Yes, I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Back on November 21st, when you met with the police, did you provide a physical description of the man who came up your driveway?
Yes.
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled.
What was the physical description you provided?
It was a black male, mid-30s at the time, dreadlocks, tied up in a band. He had tattoos. One I noticed above his right eye, and some he had on his arms, but it was kind of dark yet, so didn't.
That's pretty good. You did pretty well. Good job.
So the darkness prevented you from being able to see
just nerves.
any detail of the
Yeah.
arm tattoos?
Yes.
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Your Honor, could you please instruct Mr. Brooks to remove his mask momentarily?
Mr. Brooks, please remove your mask and look at the witness.
Bully.
Mr. Caprone, the person you've described today as walking up your driveway, the person who you've referred to as Mr. Brooks today, do you see that person in the courtroom today?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. You may
Not
answer, sir.
consent to being called that name either.
So what?
Yes.
Could you please point to him and then tell us what he's wearing?
He's wearing a suit and tie.
Let
And
the-
mask.
Your Honor, let the record reflect, please, that the witness has identified the defendant.
The record will so reflect.
Oh, he's mad.
And that he pointed with his right hand toward.
He's mad. If you're so bad about that, he's mad. He's angry.
Mr. Brooks.
Thank you for that.
Objection. I
additional-
don't consent to being
He
called that
doesn't
name.
even look up
For the record.
for the record.
Whose phone, you described handing a phone to Mr. Brooks. Whose phone was it?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
Your objection is noted, although it's not legally relevant at this time, and I'd ask that you not interrupt with an objection for that reason under 906.11. Go ahead, Attorney
I
Witchow,
don't
your
consent
question
to being
again.
called that name.
Whose phone was it that you handed to the man in your driveway?
That was my fault.
And did you see what that man did with the phone?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
He called a number on the phone, or called somebody, which I at the time thought was Uber.
Did that man then hand the phone back to you at some point?
Yes.
When you met with the police, did they ask to see your phone?
Yes.
And the purpose of that was to try and see the number that
Yes.
Mr. Brooks had called?
Objection. I
Overruled.
don't consent to being called that name.
Yes.
Would you please show for the witness
The gag
only
would have been good.
exhibit number 74, a photograph.
Go ahead.
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled.
Grounds.
It's relevant.
Mr. Caprone, do you see a photograph on the screen in front of you?
Yes.
What are we looking at here?
This is the number that Mr. Brooks had called.
Can you read that number out loud for us?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled.
414-610-2153.
And this is a call history screenshot, is that right? Where we can see all the recent calls to and from that number?
Yes.
Is this an accurate depiction of how your phone screen looked that afternoon as you showed it to the police?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
Yes.
I move exhibit 74 into evidence and ask for permission to publish.
Objection. Relevancy.
Exhibit 74 is received. Permission to publish is granted. The objection's overruled.
Can you zoom in on the bottom half of this photograph? Okay, Mr. Caprone, did you call this number at any point?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. He may answer.
No.
So all three of these calls, outgoing, incoming, and canceled, would have been made by someone other than you.
Yes.
Objection. Leading.
And the only person who had your phone during that time frame was who?
Objection.
Me.
Leading.
Or
Overruled.
Derek, no, Mr. Brooks.
After Mr. Brooks handed you your phone back, what happened next?
A lady had called me, and I answered the phone, and I asked her if she was Uber, and she told me she wasn't an Uber.
Did she say anything else?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled.
No.
Is the call that you're talking about, the lady who called you, was that incoming call from that 414 number we just looked at?
Objection. Leading.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
Did you recognize the number that called you?
I didn't recognize it. I didn't look at the number. I just answered the phone.
And it was recorded in your phone's call history?
Yes.
And it was the same number that Mr. Brooks had used your phone to dial.
Objection, leading, and I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled. I'm sorry, I took the exhibit down. Did you need it back up?
No, I think we're done.
All right, thank you.
And that was a yes, just to be clear.
Yes.
Did Mr. Brooks leave at some point?
Objection, I don't consent to being called that name.
Yes.
Did you see what direction he went when he left?
I guess it would be like the southwest part of my property, heading more westerly towards my neighbors.
Okay. Do you know what street he was headed, or he appeared to be headed toward?
Objection, speculative.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
Well, Central Avenue is an L Street, and he was heading towards Central.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all.
All right, very well. Any questions, Mr. Brooks, for this
Yes.
witness?
I don't consent to being called that name for the record. Do you recall giving a statement to a Detective Schwartz?
I'm not sure what his name was.
I'm referring to a Detective Mandy L. Schwartz, so that would be a woman.
There was a female, yes.
And do you recall giving a statement to the woman law enforcement officer?
Yes.
Do you recall if that was the same night or days immediately after? Or?
It was the same night.
And do you recall in that statement if you were asked about a description of the person in your driveway?
Yes.
Do you recall what you said?
Yes.
May you state it for the record and for the jury?
For the record, for the...
Yes.
Yes, I can.
A black male, 30s, dreadlocks, red shirt, jeans, no shoes, no jacket.
If it pleases the court, I have the statement here, and I would like to show the witness.
He does this
Is it
every
a written
time.
statement?
Oh, it's typewritten.
It's I'm guessing, whatever statement he gave to Detective Schwartz.
Is it a written statement?
I don't know if it's a written statement.
No, it's typewritten. We can see that.
Would this
Maybe
be
it
Would this
may.
be the police report?
Yeah.
If it's not his written statement, then I'm going to deny that request to show it to the witness. You may ask a question.
Do you recall in your report with Detective Schwartz that you described the male as approximately 5'5" to 5'6", weighing approximately 120 to 125 pounds, and the male appeared to be in his 20s?
Okay. These descriptions with ages are so subjective. When we would get dispatched on calls, I was happy if somebody said adult or child. Like literally, I gave no credence to an age if they were calling it from their car or calling it from a distance. And many of the people who would call 911 in my jurisdiction wouldn't go near the person anyway because they were afraid. So, and let's look at the man on the witness stand. He's a larger person with a larger body. And so in his mind, little Pee Wee Herman looking Darrell Brooks probably does look like 120 pounds. Look at him. ridiculous liar lines. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't recall.
Was it me?
Any reason why
Any reason why?
this report would say that, and then you would, when you were asked the description, you gave a different description? Any reason why the two would conflict?
Objection.
Because he
grounds.
didn't write the
Argumentative.
report.
Grounds misstates the evidence.
Sustained.
Reason for the sustain?
Substain.
Grounds for the sustain?
Sustained is to the form of the question.
Need to make a proper list. The substain.
And it misstates the testimony in part.
Well, I'm reading from the report that was given to the detective.
And you
So-
can't testify as to what that report says. You can only question the witness on it, sir.
That was a question. Do you recall?
He said he did not recall. Next question.
Okay, next question. Shake your head, dummy, bully. Pee Wee Herman looking. That even, you know what? That's even aggressively terrible to Pee Wee Herman, because that was actually a funny character. This guy just makes it the evil Pee Wee little man. Ugh, ruin everything. Isn't there a song like
Any
that?
reason why your description would change from that night till now?
It didn't. Oh, he's trying to twist this poor man's words. Those aren't his words? How about those aren't his words?
I'm not sure.
Okay. There you go. Just say you don't know. That's fine. Darrell can't
You made
do anything
reference
about that.
to when the male that was in your driveway left your driveway, they went towards Central, I think is what you said. Would that be fair to say?
For to say.
Yeah.
Do you recall stating in your report that they went in the direction of West Avenue?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that that's two different directions?
No. You just say yes.
Yes.
Does it matter? It doesn't matter.
Any reason why that would change from then till now?
Not sure.
Thank you. Don't worry, Zach Witchow can undo any of this. Because I don't think this guy is expressing this incorrectly. I just think Darrell is twisting his words with Darrell's narcissistic semantics. And this guy is so far to the opposite of narcissism, he doesn't know how to confront it. Go ahead, reading.
And you made reference to it being kind of dark, so it was a little hard to tell about certain aspects of that interaction. Would that be fair to say?
No.
Yes.
Don't worry about it.
Would you say it was dark or dusk?
That
Dusk.
doesn't help you, Darrell. Actually, the first question might have helped you. The follow-up question was just dumb.
So it'd be fair to say that
Fair
you
to say.
were unable to identify tattoos?
I would be able to, yes.
You would be able to identify tattoos, or you wouldn't?
Not, I saw tattoos.
But you couldn't make out because of the lighting. You couldn't make them out. Would that be fair to say?
I could make out tattoos.
Do you recall stating that you were not able to identify the tattoos?
in, I guess, in description, I guess, or in detail, sorry.
And not being able to make out in detail would be referring to the tattoos on the arms.
Yes.
And during that interaction in the lighting, you could tell that there was some type of rubber band or tie in the hair.
Yes.
Do you recall what color that might have been?
No, I don't.
You made reference to a number calling you back and you not looking at the number but just answering. Do you recall stating that?
Yes.
Did you ever at any time ask who that was that called?
I just asked if it was the Uber driver.
Ding. Ding. Ding.
You stated that your sons were with you in the driveway.
Yes.
Was there any interaction with your sons at that time?
Don't recall.
Okay.
Do you recall stating that the male did not have any interactions with either of your sons?
No.
Do you recall stating that the male you had the interaction with, do you recall stating that you did not really think he was understanding what you were telling him?
I don't understand the question.
Didn't make any damn sense. It's just
That would be in reference to you stating that your neighbor was an Uber driver. Did you, or a Lyft driver? Was I think the word you said. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
And you stated that you don't recall if the individual went to your neighbor's house at that time. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
And do you recall about what time of the evening that was when you had the interaction?
I'm not quite sure what time it was at that time.
Do you recall around what time you were subpoenaed to testify here today?
No, I think a letter came in the mail in July.
And did you follow up with the district attorney's office at that point?
Yes.
Do you recall whom you spoke with?
Not quite sure the names, but
You made let the record reflect, you made a hand gesture with your left hand. Would that be referring to the table,
yes,
the prosecution table?
yes,
So you recall speaking to one of those attorneys?
yes.
Do you recall whom?
The gentleman here.
I'll stipulate that Mr. Caprin's pointing at me.
Yeah.
All right, the record will still reflect.
Because it's meaningless.
And at any time, did you ever see a police report or a complaint in this matter?
No.
I would like to see that.
Did you ever yourself make a claim in this matter?
Don't understand the question.
Did you file a claim?
Does not understand what that means. He's an ordinary guy. He doesn't do that.
I don't understand the question.
Thank you. I think it's clear and obvious. Obvious. I don't know how it says it.
Did you yourself file a complaint with law enforcement?
No.
He just said no, and he doesn't know what you're talking about. You're talking gibberish. I used to tell my drunk people.
Ever spoke with the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
I used to tell him I didn't understand drunk gibberish. Not in a mean way. Well, maybe a little bit in a mean way, but I mean, not really in a mean way. Just, you know, they would be talking like, I'm trying to understand you, and I do not understand you. I'm not bilingual, do not understand drunk gibberish. I tell my granddaughter I don't understand whining. I don't understand that language. She's speaking English.
Sustained.
Grounds for the sustained, Your Honor.
Grounds for the substance.
90611.
Ridiculous, stupid, irrelevant.
Are you aware of any plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Relevant.
Grounds.
Sustained. Relevance 90611 as well.
Gibberish.
You ever seen a plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained. Next question.
Had any conversations or any interactions with the plaintiff?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained is to the form of the question.
Ever had a phone conversation with the plaintiff?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
Ever been contacted by the plaintiff in any way?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
Have you ever contacted the plaintiff in any way?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained
Grounds for the sustain, Your Honor.
as to the form of the question.
Somebody explain what that means to me as to the form of the question, because I don't understand it. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't understand it. But why doesn't she just tell him it's irrelevant?
Have you followed this matter in any way?
No.
So it'd be fair to say you didn't seek to testify in this matter. That'd be fair to say?
Yes.
Were you persuaded in any way to testify in this matter?
No.
Did you prepare in any way to testify in this matter?
No.
And before you were shown Exhibit 74, and that was the call log of your phone, correct? Before, I'm sorry,
Yes.
before today, had you seen that those photos in reference to your call log?
Yes.
Darrell, what?
You seen them before today?
Proved that
Yes.
you used his phone. You just confirmed it.
Did you anticipate seeing them today?
Yes.
How so?
Through the sorry. Through the district attorney.
So you were informed that you would see those same photos by the district attorney?
Yes.
Were you at any time told what to say by the district attorneys?
No.
And are you even aware of a plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Grounds for the sustain, Your Honor.
I previously sustained it. Next question.
Grounds for the sustain, Your Honor.
Next question. Under 90611, please continue. Otherwise, I'll declare the cross-examination ended.
You can declare whatever you want to. No further questions.
Thank you. Any redirect?
Very briefly, thank you, Judge. Mr. Caprone, I just want to clarify the geography of your neighborhood, okay? So back where you were living on November 21st of last year on Central Avenue, does Central run east to west, north to south, or something else?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
Central runs east and west and north and south.
Where does it, what direction does it run where you were living at the time?
Objection, leading.
East and
Hold
west.
on. Overruled.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
not leading. You may answer.
Objection, relevancy.
It's relevant. You may answer, sir.
East and west.
And then where does it change and run north and south?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled.
It changes my neighbor's house, and then it turns north and south.
And that happens to the west of where your
Yes.
house was?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. His answer may stand. Chelsea, yes.
Darrell.
Yes.
Where is West Avenue in relation to where your house was?
Objection, relevancy.
Slimy.
Overruled.
West.
So is it fair to say that if you're standing in your driveway at the time and head west, you would hit where Central Avenue turns, and then if you kept going, you'd hit West Avenue?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Yes.
So is it also fair to say that if you're heading towards Central Avenue, you're also heading toward West Avenue?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Yes.
So, in other words, you thought you had this guy because you asked him a direct question and he directly answered the question. Yes, it is two different directions. But as we clearly now see, he lives right at the juncture of where the road turns, thus being two different directions. Ha ha.
You recall meeting with myself and my colleagues here a few weeks ago?
Objection,
Yes.
relevancy.
Overruled.
Do you remember where that meeting took place?
Here.
In the courthouse?
Yeah.
During business hours?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled. You questioned him about meeting with the prosecution. These are proper.
I didn't question him about the time.
It's
Doesn't
proper
matter.
redirect. Go ahead, sir. You may answer.
Yes.
We discussed your potential testimony, is that right?
Yes.
Were we asking you questions about November 21st?
Objection, speculative.
Speculative? How's that speculative?
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes.
We showed you that the photograph of the call log, right?
Yes.
And you had an independent recollection. You had seen that call log before because it's from your own phone.
Objection, leading.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
Had you ever seen that photograph before?
Yes.
And had you ever looked at your phone screen before?
Objection, for leading.
Not leading. It's relevant, and he may answer.
Yes.
Did we at any time give you a script for your testimony today?
Objection, asked during cross.
It's redirect. It's proper. You may answer. It's overruled.
No.
Fire engine.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all we have.
All right. Thank you, sir. You may step down. Statement called to next witness.
Thank you. The state.
Okay. Fire engines. The difference between an engine and a truck. Trucks have tools. They're usually bigger, longer. If they're the two-person type, they could be a tiller, they could be a straight stick ladder, but their trucks have tools, more ladders on them. Engines can have ladders, but more than ladders. They have the pump on it because engines have the water. Okay, so there you go. Darrell was such a bully. Oh my God, bullies never win. Like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Patty Jo.